Why is TikTok so bright? It's also very loud. The cool jazz. It's not cool, it's too loud. Stickman showed up for a little bit. Keith Whitley. Or Wells. It's so hard to read those. I need to put this down here so I can read the words. Blue doesn't help. I got TikTok over here, and I got YouTube on the other side. I don't usually get a lot of people on YouTube. Understandably. But hey, I'm here. I'm sitting here in my shop at Auxland. Talk about cars, talk about life, talk about love, talk about losing love, talk about my automotive nonprofit, which is what this is. And then we'll hang out for a while. You know, it's a Wednesday. I've never done this on a Wednesday, but I'm doing it on a Wednesday. Doing it on a Wednesday. Doing it now. And we'll see how it is. Maybe there's people out there that work all weekend, and now we can hang out and talk. That would be kind of fun. That would be fun. When is Mopar Muscle Drag Fest? What's up, Jason and Logan of West Virginia? In Kentucky, where is it at? Beach Bend? And I gotta wear glasses so I can read the comments because they're so small. Mopar, baby. Sweet classics. Thanks, Echo. London, Kentucky. I don't know about it yet. I would like to see that. I am a bit of a Mopar guy. I'm an everything guy, but I have a special affinity for Mopars. My whole purpose here, AuxAuto, is, according to the IRS, Auxilium Auto. It's a nonprofit that provides financial mechanical assistance to people that depend on their transportation for a living. I basically pay the shop bills for people that can't afford to make their vehicles safe. And then I kind of just talk about stuff on here. And showcase, I think is the word I'm looking for. Showcase some of my projects. Last time I was on TikTok, I've got YouTube on this side, and I got TikTok over here. But last time I was on TikTok, I had a celebrity. Come in here and chit chat for a little bit, which is pretty awesome. So I got to move here so I can see the words over here. From Texas to London, Kentucky. Hey, Billy, was that a... Hey, Billy, did you have the 69 also, or just the same color, different year? You want a turbo 440 or you want to supercharge it? Yep. Either way, that'd be cool. I got to sit down here in the corner because the words are right here. And I should have probably worn a dark shirt or just my t-shirt. Oh, I got to turn the brightness up over here. That's what it is. Anonymous. Sorry over there on YouTube. I'm not ignoring you. I've got 2 lives running. I got YouTube and I got TikTok over here. Appreciate it, Wayne. This is out of a 1969 Chrysler Newport. I bought the Newport as a parts car for a 69 Imperial project that I've been working on for the last 67 years. And I basically need the floor and some structure from it. So I took everything out and I built a wood frame on wheels so I can just roll this around the shop and sit on it and talk to you guys. What's my favorite big block? This is a good question because I don't know if you're into Mopars, you know Chris Birdsong. I don't know him personally, but I'm a big fan of his. He made a video recently about the 383 versus the 440, and he makes a very compelling argument that the 383 is a very fine contender Very fine contender, very fine. And I really honestly have to say that is too. I have more familiarity with 383s. This Charger had a 383 in it. This Roadrunner's got a 383 in it. But they're all pre-70 engines because this 300 over here's got a 440 in it, but the other ones I got are a little older. Oh, a 427 Mopar? You talking about a 426? Yeah, Diplomats had the 318s. I got an 88 Fifth Avenue, which is the same. It's an M body. It's the same thing as a Diplomat. And my daughter jumped it at Holly Mo Party a couple years ago, and then I jumped it, and we ended up bending the frame. But I was using that as promotion for AuxAuto, which is my automotive nonprofit, which is what you're doing here. This is what AuxAuto is. It's a nonprofit that provides financial mechanical assistance to people that depend on their transportation for a living. I basically pay the shop bills for people that can't afford to make their vehicles safe or operable for those who depend on it for like daily activities of going to school, going to work, going to medical appointments, picking kids up. And I come on here and I promote it and I talk about stuff. Your dad's Cornet has a Hemi. That's a hanger onto. That's a what do you call that? Needs to be an heirloom. That is a hand-me-down. That's a high. That's a nice one. Geez, how far did they bore the 383 out? Like 80 over? A 383 to a 496? Or what heads did they put on there? Savage over on YouTube. Thank you, sir or ma'am. I got a couple cars in here, a couple projects in here. And I got a couple in another building. You talking about the new ones, the Demons? With 1,007 horsepower? If you had a time machine to go back to 1970, what car would you get? Charger RT convertible. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they made any Chargers from the factory convertible, but I think it was, you know what? I don't think they did, as a matter of fact. But if they did, it was probably a dealer thing, because on these B bodies, I'm no expert, but on these B bodies, they're unibody, and part of that roof structure is the structure of the car. So if you take that off, all you've got is the floor, and your car will bend. So you have to reinforce it. Golly, I remember back in the day in the 90s when the Viper came out with 400 horsepower, and that was phenomenal. 400 horsepower. Now we're up to 1,000, whatever you said. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's technology. And Eric, well, I would choose anything with a Hemi in it. Savage 3, I don't mean to ignore you. I got YouTube on this side, and I got TikTok on this side, or depending on how you're looking at me, it's this way. It's Dylan. You know, I used to have a 68 Charger that was green like that. It was metallic. And it's a great story. I sold it in 2003 along with another 68 Charger for $3,500. Don't rub it in. Is it Dylan? Is it a project car? Or is it a runner? I love 68 Chargers. 68, 9, and 70 are my favorite. I'm partial to 69. 68's my second close. 70 I'm not a big fan of, but I'll still take one. Oh, that's awesome. The old runner driver. Are you gonna have it's a Dylan? Are you is it gonna be a cruiser? Or are you trying to build it? And I don't have a lot of builds here. I've just got a lot of cruisers. Matter of fact, I took the 383 out of this Charger and I put in an RV 440 from a 1973 RV just to put miles on it and cruise it. It's after they were detuned, but it's still got torque. It'll still spin the tires. But I don't really have any crazy builds. After I went to Holly Mopar, I was really considering taking this 68 300 over here and doing something with it. A four-door 68 Chrysler 300 with a blower on it would be awesome. But I don't really do a whole lot of things like that. So one of the reasons is my whole existence, AuxAuto is actually, according to the IRS, Auxilium Auto. It's a 501c3 in the state of Tennessee. It's a nonprofit company, and we provide financial mechanical assistance to people that depend on their transportation for getting through life. We basically pay the shop bills for people who can't afford to make their vehicles safe or operable, but depend on them to get to work and school and medical appointments and everything. Basically everybody, if they can't afford it. And they have a demonstrated need. I'm not talking about, somebody who makes $150,000 and they just want to, their brakes done for free. Not that stuff. But I don't do a whole lot of builds, but I'm really, after Mopar this year, I'm really wanting to do some things. I've got a 69 Imperial that's disassembled, and I'm really, because I was on TikTok live one night, and somebody suggested that I put like a Detroit diesel in the Imperial, and I can't stop thinking about it. And with an air brake system. But I think I need to start doing those projects again. But even if I do those, any thing that I sell on TikTok or any kind of promotion stuff, it all goes to my nonprofit, which is the whole purpose of this. Yeah, matter of fact, Dylan, I'm gonna screenshot this whole page so I remember I got your name. I'd like to look at it. Corey with that's a fast Trans Am there. 442 also was a nice one. I don't know if you probably know this, but I think people thought the 442 was the engine, but it's actually a 404 barrel. What was the two? Positive traction, I think. Over on YouTube, Savage has got a 16 Challenger. Why are they so hated? I think they're only hated because they're fast. Everybody pokes fun at everybody. It's like the military and police and fire. The Fords poke fun at the Mopar people, and the Mopar people poke fun at the GM folks. But then everybody hates squatted trucks, so at least we have that in common. Dual exhaust, okay. The 442 is a 404 barrel with dual exhaust. Thanks, Angela. I got a couple of cars in here. And for once, they're all running. No, that's not true. Matter of fact, the starter just went out on this 68 300. So it just clicks. Or it doesn't click. I would love to have a Demon 170. I would love to have anything. That's what that one is, Dylan. That's the 69 Roadrunner. That was bought, I bought that from the person that bought it from the dealership in Detroit in September 24th of 1968. Not only is it my daughter's birthday, it's also the day this car was purchased. And I know that because I have a folder that has all of the paperwork in it, including the estimate, the work order, the build sheet, final bill of sale, the original owner doing math on a notepad to figure out if he could afford it, the window sticker, and a plethora of other things. Oh man, that's awesome, Matt. How'd you find her car? Or did she have it and you got it running? Oh, Jesse James. Man, that's one of my ultimate goals. Throughout life, I've set all these goals for myself, and everything that I've ever wanted to do, I've got to achieve it on some level. Maybe not where I thought that I would be, but I've got to do it. And it wasn't until after it that I realized that I was able to achieve the thing that I wanted to do. But one of them is to buy a car from Barrett Jackson or Meekum across the auction block. Thank you, Mark. It's a lifetime of accumulation. I've got a 69 Charger, a 68 300, a 69 Roadrunner here. In another building, I've got a 74 New Yorker. I've got a disassembled 69 Imperial. And then on display out here in the front, I've got the 88 Fifth Avenue. And then I've got a Ford I'm working on for somebody, and I've got a Corvette that was donated to AuxAuto, which is my nonprofit that provides financial mechanical assistance to people that depend on their transportation for getting through life. I basically pay the shop bills for people that can't afford to make their vehicles safe and operable. This Corvette is a 1981, and I'm still not sure if I'm going to get it running and sell it, if I'm going to buy it, give the actual owner what he wants from it. Still kind of up in the air. And there was a huge bug that just flew in here. The only way I can get internet in here is if I got the bay door open, the shop door back here, and I got a internet signal booster. The Green Lantern. Did you cruise in here with your Imperial? Was that the Green Lantern? Yeah, it sure is. 69 Charger. Generally. Hey, Savage, if you're still on here, YouTube, I'm still with you over here. I'm just jibber-jabbering on TikTok. You know how it is on TikTok. People come, people go. Choo-choo! I don't really take on stuff here anymore. I started working on stuff here at my shop, but then for my automotive nonprofit, it seemed like it made more sense to coordinate with a local shop near where a person lives, and because that shop, their parts are guaranteed, the work is guaranteed, and they're actual real mechanics. So I don't do anything here, maybe like change batteries, soon tires, and change oil and stuff like that, but the brunt of it is at real shops. But that's the thing. So that's why I come on here, because I try to promote it. I try to sell stuff on TikTok. I get donations occasionally from people, but really what I just want is support, because eventually and hopefully one day all of people's support and then showcasing some of this stuff might turn into some income, and then I can use that income for all of the AuxAuto assists. 85 Chevy S10. Oh, you know what? You should just do it. Choo-choo. What's holding you back? Nothing is. Because everything you've ever wanted to know is on YouTube. And I guarantee you there's somebody that has that car that's put their knowledge on YouTube. Which brings me to another thing that I just like to randomly talk. But when I started, I used to play music, so I had a YouTube channel for music stuff. But when I started doing automotive stuff, I actually called my YouTube channel Um, oh, I forgot. No, it wasn't my YouTube. Yeah, it was. My show was going to be. Oh, I can't even remember it now. I'll remember it in a minute. But then it turns out that there's so many people that are so much better at it, and it was like, it won't make a whole lot of sense to try to start a channel doing things that everybody else was doing. So with my background in nonprofit stuff, I was in a nonprofit. It was a trip that turned into a movie that turned into a nonprofit company back in the early 2000s. So I just kind of combined my love and appreciation of automotive and transportation with nonprofit stuff, and decided that this AuxAuto nonprofit was the way to go. Yeah, chew. If you, I mean, you can do it one of two ways. You do the work, or you pay somebody to do the work. It's not cheap, and I'll tell you why, because it's expensive. Words of wisdom. But also, people that work on cars, especially on old cars, they don't want to do it budget, because budget doesn't cut it. And when it falls apart in a year, and the owner of the vehicle is talking to somebody else, and they're like, well, this person did whatever, and then they get a bad reputation. So what they want to do is do it right the first time, which just isn't cheap anymore. But I guarantee you, everything that you've ever wanted to know is on YouTube. Appreciate it, Dylan. Thanks for hanging out for a little bit. If you, I don't know where you're from, Choo Choo. There's a lot of people around Tennessee and Nashville that do that. And if you got nothing else to do with your money, let me tell you about this automotive nonprofit called AuxAuto that provides financial and or mechanical assistance to people that depend on their transportation for getting through life. My AuxAuto, according to the IRS, is Auxilium Auto. It's a 501c3 nonprofit in the state of Tennessee since 2021. And I fix people's cars that can't afford to make them safe or operable for deserving people that have a demonstrated need. For instance, the last one, not the last one. Not the last one, but the one before that was a lady that had two children that had some form on the spectrum of autism, to where they have to go to therapy every day. And her battery died. And all I had to do was hook up with a mobile mechanic in Nashville, call him, let him know what I'm doing, set the thing up. He went out there, diagnosed the car, went to the parts place, put him in, fixed the car. All of this happened within 4 hours. It was a little expensive because it happened so quick, but then I covered all that, and then her car's fixed. Appreciate it, Mopar. So while you're getting your car fixed there, Choo Choo, I have had a couple of people donate some money, but honestly, that's not really what I'm after. What I'm after is just support and subscriptions. So hopefully one day, you know, places like AutoZone, O'Reilly's and stuff like that, they'll help. And I get enough. Of course, you know, I got to make things interesting, but I think there's enough people that like Chargers, that like Roadrunners, that like C-body Mopars. These are B-body, yes. The C-bodies like the 300s and the New Yorkers. Then I'll start doing projects again, and people will be like, hey, that's kind of cool. I'll subscribe to that channel. And then those subscriptions can turn into income, and that income can turn into fixing people's cars free for them. 69 country station with a 440, good God. 727 torque flight, but yeah. How many, you got a, is that the one you were talking about, Choo Choo, or is that, you got another one? Yeah, 440 would have a 727, but yeah, you're right about that. Joker. How much did I pay for the Charger? Well, the thing about that, my dad and I got that in 1997 That's back when you could buy Chargers for $5 or $6 grand. I used to ride around with him. He'd go to sawmills. He bought lumber, worked at a lumber place. And I would look for Chargers because even back then in 1996, 97, people had old cars parked behind their house still because it wasn't 2020 yet. And we found that one up in Bowling Green. So 1997, $6 grand. You should get that 57 Imperial. I think that's like the Green Hornet era. I love the Chevelle. That's my number three. My top three have always been the 69 Charger, a 69 Chevelle, and a 56 Chevy Bel Air. Oh, Barracuda. Sorry if I'm ignoring you. I've got YouTube over here or over there, depending on whatever your orientation is. And I got TikTok over here. So, hey, Barry. Yeah, I like all the Chargers, honestly. I like even the ones from the 80s when they had the Mitsubishi engines in them. But I gained an appreciation for the 66 and 7 Charger. It wasn't quite the muscle car then because it still looked like a hatchback, bred out of a Cornet. Actually, I'm going to do this again with Choo Choo. I'm going to screenshot. I'm going to message you on here when I get offline. I'm probably going to be on live for like another couple hours tonight because it's Wednesday. Usually I do this on Saturday or Sunday. I keep forgetting that it's actually Wednesday. The shop is filthy. Matter of fact. Dirty. Clean floor. Messy. The seats come out of a 69 Newport, Chrysler Newport. '72 Buick. It's cleaner, honestly. It was. So, I get distracted here. On TikTok, they opened up the some creators to sell things, and for whatever reason, I qualified for it. So I'm able to sell things on TikTok and then get a commission. Of course, my plan is to use any commission that I make off of TikTok, which so far it's been like $45. I've actually made some money. Some of these items that they have in the TikTok shop, you can either buy them, which a lot of the stuff I needed anyway, like the Vevor gas tank, which was great. I got a table, a couple magnet things, but stuff I use anyway. And then I get commission off of it. But then again, that commission goes back into AuxAuto. So I had this section cleaned out so I could put together a table. The best table ever. Vevor, stainless. And then I think on TikTok here, I just made a video for that, one of those flamethrowers, because you can get that one for free. If you're eligible, you should just do that because it's kind of fun just to make ads for products. I like that. If you ain't tapping, you napping. Is that I can't see the picture. Is that a BP that I know? Are you from Tennessee? Because you're the only 10 I see. Last time, or a couple times ago, I was on here and my sister-in-law was on here and I didn't know it was her. And she kept saying things that only our family would know, and it was starting to freak me out until I scooted way up here and I looked at her name and I said, I know who that is. Middle Tennessee. Oh, where are you at, Deep South? Deep South Classics. TikTok always is more lively. I think more people are live on TikTok than YouTube. I think with YouTube, if you have a lot of subscribers already, people subscribe to your channel and your live. But I think on TikTok, there's more people that are just scrolling through and looking for stuff. South Alabama. Yeah, Middle Tennessee, pretty much right in the middle of Nashville, Knoxville, and Chattanooga. I'm here way out in the middle of nowhere, though. Outside, right now, all there is on this side of me is a 1,200-acre farm. This side, there's a highway and more land. There's some coyotes. And I love it. Which also is kind of why having this shop and working on cars for people, for AuxAuto, doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, because I have to pick them up and I have to haul them here and then work on them. So it makes more sense to coordinate with a shop near where a person lives. And then I talk to the shop and we figure out what to do. I had one time an AuxAuto Assist, that's what I call them. Everything here is Aux something. AuxAuto is the nonprofit. The shop that I'm at is on a property or a complex called Aux Land, which is another YouTube channel where I do like property maintenance stuff. The truck that I haul cars with is Oxy with an A, because I don't want you to get that confused with a hardcore, highly addictive painkiller. And all of the vehicles that I fix are called AuxAuto Assists. So far, I've done 15 of them at the tune of about 15 grand. So each one usually costs about $1,000. There's been some that have been less. There's been some that were more. But one in particular, this lady had to use her vehicle to drive to chemo treatment because she had cancer that went into remission for a couple years and then it came back. But the truck she was driving was in such bad a shape, she thought the transmission went out, but really what happened is the brakes were falling apart and all the components were preventing the wheels from turning. So when I took it to the shop, the total bill for that was $4,500 to fix everything. So we went through, every line item and we figured out what we really needed to make it safe. Like for instance, it was about to be summer, so we didn't fix the coolant leak. We just rerouted it. They did, rerouted it. And we got it down to about $2,500, which was a little more reasonable. But in the end, it was safe. Yeah, if you hang out for just a minute, my YouTube keeps cutting out, so I'm afraid my signal is too. You got a 69 Newport seat in your shop? Deep South. So I don't really work on cars for people. I've got this Ford in here. It's a 79 Ford, but the only reason I have it in here and that I'm working on it is because the family has owned that truck since new. It caught fire about 6 years ago and burnt the distributor and the carburetor and everything kind of on the inside of the intake and the manifold. And the elders of the family who enjoyed the truck when it was new are getting older, so I'm trying to get it fixed and running so they can all take it for another ride again. They can see it. It's called Big Blue. It's the name of the truck. But then again, it's at no cost to the people that own it. It's just taken a little bit longer than I had anticipated. So I don't really do work here. The only projects that I do are really for making videos to try to attract attention. It says shameless promotion. I'm not even trying to lie about it, to get people to subscribe to the channel so eventually I can use social media to pay for these AuxAuto Assists. Initially, I was just working a lot of overtime and paying for them. J-Long, no, but that's good. Very astute observation, sir. It is a Chrysler 300. Newport was also a C-body and is very similar. It's funny you say that because I was doing this a couple weeks ago and you could probably see this much of the 300. And then the person wrote on there, they said, "Hey, is that a 1968 Chrysler 300 440 with a 4-barrel?" Nice. Nice, I said. 70 GTX. Oh, yeah, that's why people don't like them Mopars, man, because them parts ain't cheap. That's a good car, though. It'll be worth it. The GTX had a 440 or a 426 in it. I think I started answering a question and then forgot to actually answer it. Yeah, I do too, Steven. They're little museums, and I would drive them every day if I could. I actually took this 1969 Plymouth Roadrunner with a 383 4-speed up to Michigan in June, 600 miles up, riding on back roads. Took 2 days, stayed in Airbnb in a house that was built in the 1800s, and on the way back, stayed at a farm. 1,200 miles total in the 1969 Plymouth Roadrunner. Does the Tempest have positive traction? If you know that reference. The Roadrunner's a 4-speed. The Charger's a 3-speed auto. I found those because I'm old. My dad and I have had this for a long time. It was our project car. Well, we didn't work on it. It was our thing. I got the 300 in 2019. I'll actually tell you the story of that. Who asked that? Sinful. Oh, sounds provocative. If you hang out for a minute. So, I've always been into cars, but I got custody of my daughter in 2011 or 12, around there. And so from 12 to about 2019, I didn't do anything with cars. I just kind of would start the Charger at my parents' house. And then in 2019, my daughter was getting older and she started hanging out with friends. I started getting a little bit more free time, and I was like, well, I want to find another Charger. This is 2019. The cheapest one I could find, in 68 970 Charger, was a rusted out, no engine, no glass, no interior, shell of a car for 14 grand. And I was like, that's got to be a typo. The next one I found was a Runner, had an engine in it, wasn't original, rusty, needed floors, quarters, $23,000. And I'm like, what happened here? This is ridiculous. So between that time of 11 and 19, the value of not only Chargers, but the old cars just skyrocketed. And there was no way I could afford that. So I ended up going down to Alabama and looking at a 73 Charger. They wanted $5 grand for it. And I'm not kidding you when I tell you that it was rusted so bad, the K-frame was rusted. And it was bad. I was like, $5 grand? I was like, I can't even do that. It's not even feasible. It wasn't even a special 73. It was just so bad. So I came back all sad and depressed, and then I was eating at a Denny's or a Bill Knapp's or something, and I found a 1968 Chrysler 300 with a 440 727 4-door. It's this car, about 15 minutes from my house in Tennessee, for $2,500. And I was like, you know what? That's it. That's the car I'm going to find. That's what I'm going to work on. And then that turned into buying a 74 New Yorker. That turned into the 69 Imperial because I couldn't afford B-bodies anymore. And I ended up loving the C-bodies. East Tennessee, where at? You close to Dandridge? And also, when I bought this 68 300, the lady that I bought it from, her husband passed away, and it sat since 2000. It sat since 98, I think. There's a registration sticker, New York. And she took the dealer plastic off the front seats to take pictures of it to list it. Oh, man, I love Bristol. Bristol's a little Nashville, and it's so much better than Nashville, but don't tell Nashville. And so when I bought it, and when I brought it home, I took the dealer plastic off the rear seats. That thing's got an interior, the seats are impeccable. which is kind of cool. Oh yeah, parallel park. Matter of fact, the Roadrunner doesn't have power steering, but it steers better than, you know, because the gear ratio is different. But I've got both the power steerings disconnected from both those cars because they always leak. I don't have any old trucks straight axle, but I do. I wish I did. I've got this Ford that I'm working on for somebody else, but I would like a truck from the 40s or 50s. Oh, matter of fact, when I bought this 68 300, the guy had a, I think it was a 48 Dodge truck with a 440 in it, and he was selling it for $15,000, and that was super nice. I wonder what ever happened to that. Lewis, you want to just borrow it for the rest of ever? No, I wish I had an RT. This is a 69 Charger. It's got a 440, but it's not an RT. The actual original engine is over here on an engine stand. It's an original 383 car. Skid Racer, yes sir, Tennessee. Tennessee. Matter of fact, according to the IRS, AuxAuto is, no, it's just Auxilium Auto. On Facebook, it's Auxilium Auto of Tennessee. I cut out, I don't know. You know what I probably should do is move these over here. I think it cuts out when I hear YouTube cut out. Heck yeah, the first TNN comment, Skid Racer. If I was large enough to have giveaways or do something like that, I would be sending you something. I've been trying to give away 2 $100 gift cards for the past 7 months. The first time that I did it, I had posted a video. Here's what I did. Like, it was one weekend where I didn't have anything to do but come out here at the shop, and I said, hey, I'm going to post a video sometime throughout this weekend, and on the end of it's going to have an email address. And then if you are, because they're time-stamped, if you're the, you know, first one to send me an email, I'm going to send you a $100 gift card. Of course, nobody did, which is all right. And then at Holly Mo Party, I was doing a live the week before Holly Mo Party, and there were a whole lot of people that were either from Kentucky or were going to it. And I said, so when I was at Mo Party, I made a video, and I said, if anybody sees me, this is what I look like. I had a hat that I just bought from Vice Grip. I will give you a $100 O'Reilly's gift card. And then nobody was there. So I've been trying to do that. So eventually one day, I'm going to do those silly things to where, like, I've got a couple of Opryland hats, original ones, and I'm going to wear them. But the first one that says something, I'm going to send them something. Nothing's for sale. I mean, everything's for sale. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, when I bought this Roadrunner, the idea was, well, let me back up because I like talking. Originally, the lady that owned this, because her dad passed away in 22, I think, and she got a hold of me and she said, I know, I put the feelers out on Facebook about a year prior to that, and she contacted me and she said, my dad's got a 69 Roadrunner, but I don't think he's ready to get rid of it, part with it. He's had it since he bought it new in 1968. After he passed away, she got a hold of me again, and she's like, I don't know what to do with this car. I had a family member offer me $5,000 for it. And I said, no, let me come look at it for the love of everything holy in this world of the galaxy. And I was like, you've got an all original, unmolested, 2-door, big block, 4-speed, optioned, fully documented Chrysler product here. Don't sell it for $5,000. And originally what I wanted to do was bring it out here. I was going to get it running, get it drivable, make videos of it, talk about it, list it and sell it, and then use the money for, or give her the money, but take like 15 or 20% and use it for my automotive nonprofit that provides financial mechanical assistance to people that depend on their transportation for getting through life. I basically pay the shop bills for people that can't afford to make their vehicle safe or operable. But then when she talked it over with other family members, and they're like, no, we're just going to sell it. So I was like, that's cool. I'll still buy it. And then I'll do the same thing that I was going to do, and I'll sell it, and then I'll use it for my automotive nonprofit. But man, I tell you what, I posted a video of Bill, the 1969 Roadrunner, on my YouTube channel and on Facebook. And I'm not kidding you when I think it's still my most viewed video on YouTube. My YouTube, I'm only sitting at like 700 people, which is fantastic. I don't even know why 700 people have subscribed to it. But this is back when I only had like 75 or 100. And Bill the Roadrunner video got like 50,000 views or something like that. And it kind of launched my YouTube channel. And I was like, well, I can't sell Bill. Bill and I are now connected. I can't get rid of him. And a lot of people like the B-body Mopars, and a lot of people like the Roadrunner. And like when I go to shows, car shows with it, people have stories about Roadrunners, or they have family that had them because it was a popular car. It was the car of the year, Motor Trend car of the year in '69. And people like it. So I just can't get rid of it. Taylor Swift coming in clutch. I made $800 off Taylor Swift. Yes, sir, that is generally speaking. So yeah, Bill, the name of the car is Bill. So yeah, I'm gonna hang on to it because it's kind of like a promotional tool, because it is a cool story. Bill was a United States Marine, and he lived up in Michigan. Had 2 kids at the time. Part of the documentation I have with that car is him doing the math on the options to see if he can afford to buy it, and still take care of a family and raise 2 kids, which is also funny because it wasn't, a couple of years later, I was talking to the original owner's daughter, and she was looking at the paperwork, and she goes, oh my God, that's funny. This is my dad's handwriting, and this is my mom's handwriting, checking his math to make sure that he didn't mess it up, which I thought was pretty funny. But he had it the entire time. Bought it in September. He bought it today in '68 and had it up until he passed away in, I believe it was 23. Had it the whole time. It was a part of their life the whole time. I can start one of these here in a minute. Once I get my signal back. The Charger's got a pretty mild exhaust on it. I would like to upgrade that. The '69 Roadrunner has got from the manifolds to an X pipe to glass packs, and it spits out right in front of the rear wheel. Who did? Somebody caught the TNN? Oh, sorry, over on YouTube. I don't mean to ignore YouTube, but Rebuild It is coming in clutch over there. I got YouTube over here or here, depending on which way you're looking, and I got TikTok on the other one. So while it may seem like I'm talking to myself, I'm actually not. That's what I did. I missed your name, but the '66 Charger and put a 440 in it. That's what I did with this one. I got the original 383 sitting over here on an engine stand because I spun a cam bearing, and I put in a 440 from a 1973 RV. Didn't bore it out, didn't machine it at all. I took it completely apart, refreshed it, put it back together, and put it in there. Just so I could put the miles on it. That's pretty random. Oh, Eric's talking about Opryland. Yeah, You're obviously familiar with it, but if you are walking from the theater and you're going towards the hotel, but you go a little bit to the left, there's a closed off parking lot, and then there's like a little wooded area. But if you ever get a chance to, in that little wooded area are still remnants of the Grizzly River Rampage. I think that's what it was. I'm gonna have to go back there and look, but when we used to sneak into the Grand Ole Opry when it was over at the hotel, we would go through that parking lot, and it was still there then, and I don't think that they would have removed it, so it may still be there. Francisco, it is not for sale unless you want to spend a lot more money than it's worth. But it is a 1969 Plymouth Roadrunner 383 4-speed with the original engine and transmission and interior. I did put a new water pump and a radiator on it for my 1,200-mile Tennessee to Michigan to Tennessee road trip. I don't know. I could send you I'd be more likely to send you a postcard than a Roadrunner for Christmas. No, I've never jumped a General Lee, but I have jumped a 1988 Chrysler Fifth Avenue, and I bent the frame like this. It's sitting out front. What do you got, Caden? Cheeseburger over on YouTube. How you doing, Cheeseburger? You know what I had for dinner? I had a dat-gum cheeseburger. Danny, that's grilled cheese. So AuxAuto is my YouTube channel. Auxilium Auto is what I'm called by the IRS. I'm a 501c3 nonprofit in the state of Tennessee, and I provide financial mechanical assistance to people that depend on transportation for getting through life. I basically pay the shop bills for people that can't afford to make their vehicle safe or operable. And then I come on YouTube on this side. I come on TikTok on this side. I've got two phones streaming. And I talk about stuff and car stuff and life stuff. And I try to get support and subscriptions and people to help promote my philanthropic endeavors. And I have a couple of projects that I'll showcase. I get a little caught up in I try to keep up with TikTok because it's scrolling. You got the Jeeps. I'm sure you checked out Uncle Tony with his XJ. He's also Tennessee. Skid Racer's over on there on the YouTubes. Oh, yeah, no, it's all right. I tried to cheeseburger over on YouTube. I've done 15 of them. I call them AuxAuto assists. Everything that I do with AuxAuto is got some sort of aux related to it. I don't know why, I just do, but like AuxAuto is the nonprofit. The place that my shop is out here is AuxLand. It's a whole complex. I've got a YouTube channel for AuxLand. I basically do like property maintenance videos and stuff. I just started that one a couple of months ago. The truck that I use to haul cars to shops when I do it is Oxy with an A, not to be confused with the highly addictive painkiller, Oxy with an O. When I help people, it's called an AuxAuto assist. And I've done 15 of them to the tune of about 15 grand. So each one ends up being about $1,000. and I'd like to offset the costs of those by getting people to subscribe on YouTube, on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram, or yeah, that's all I got, social media wise. You got it. You got the Plymouth, the Charger, and the 300. In another building, I got a 74 New Yorker and a 69 disassembled Imperial. And I got an 88 Fifth Avenue kind of out on display in the front yard over here because I bent the frame and I jumped the car, and when I landed, it bent the frame. And you know, on those 318 small blocks, the distributor's in the back. So the back hit the firewall and it bent the distributor cap and broke the distributor button. Otherwise, I think that car would still work. But that's another one of those projects that I'm wanting to do and get that car running. So out here on the property, I'm gonna make a little dirt track so I could do like dumb things on. Oh, and speaking of that, this is one of the things that I want to do eventually is when people have a car that's so crap, that's so junk, that it's going to cost twice as much as the value of the car to fix, I want to be able to trade them straight out for like a new Malibu or something, just a practical car. Like trade straight up for their piece of junk for just a nice, dependable car. And then I bring the piece of junk out here to the property and I just whammer it and jump it because it's junk and it's unsafe and nobody needs to drive it. I got a couple of cars here that are like that. And then, you know, I can use the parts for other things that still work. But I think that'd be fun. A 69 Hemi Cuda, a 69 Dodge Charger, and a 71 Chevelle. I mean, if I want what I want, it would be another Charger. But if I was thinking more about like a better allocation of financial resources, I would go with the Hemi Cuda. Hey, Cat, cheeseburger subbing on YouTube. It is a lot, but it's been over I started this in 21. And I have had some people donate some money, especially here in the later years, which helped. But in the beginning, I just worked a lot of overtime, which, you know, when you're starting out a business, even a nonprofit, you're not going to make money. Although you can make money off of a nonprofit, but I don't. Maybe one day, if I could do it for a living, that'd be pretty awesome. I missed over here, Eric. You talking about a new Hemi or an old Hemi? All right, Skid. I'll do another one of those at some point. Like, the whole point of my existence is to I guess make things easier on other people. So if and when I get to the point where I can like make a bigger difference, I really want to do those. Because like I want to do not monthly giveaways like where you have to buy something and then enter to win a car. Although I would like to do that, but that's a couple years down the road. But I want to do things that are more practical for people, or at car shows and stuff, or like, you know, where somebody has to take something out of a video that I see, and then they got to be the first one to explain something, and it's like, oh, yep, you saw it, and then you get like gift cards or whatever. We're doing like a rap battle. Or are you talking about like we're just arguing with people? Appreciate it, Travis. The Road Runner. Epic rap battles, yeah. I thought you were talking about people arguing. It was funny because one of the, um, I consider myself pretty tech savvy, but I'm still getting to know some of the um, ins and outs of TikTok. But there was somebody like when you're scrolling down here and it says, like when somebody subscribes, it'll say it, but then it says you can invite somebody. And I invited some dude by accident a couple of weeks ago, and he ends up he's from Hawaii and he's got a General Lee, and then we just like dual screen and we're talking about the General Lee for a while. I thought it was pretty fun. Yeah, I know less about TikTok, although I'm learning a lot more because now that I'm able to peddle things and sell them on here, it's becoming pretty lucrative. I'll be honest with you because I was really putting all my effort into YouTube, which is over on this side with Cheeseburger, whose dad's got a 70 Roadrunner. Jeez, with a 440 six pack. Is that the original engine? That's a nice one. Big block 70. Jeez. Um, but yeah, it seems like there's more people kind of migrating over to TikTok, which is fine. You know, back in my day, we used MySpace, and I actually loved the format of MySpace. I thought it was so much more. I thought it was better than Facebook, especially when you're playing in a band because you can your music was all right there. You know, if your top friends were bands, then it looked like you were bigger than you were. But it was so much more practically user friendly than Facebook was. But obviously, or maybe, you know, the government got involved and Facebook went up and Tom sold MySpace for $500 million and then became a photographer. Yeah, I did. I thought MySpace, especially for bands, was far superior the way that it was set up. Cheeseburger over on YouTube. What did he do with the 383? That's a good swap out though. I mean, that's a that's a beast. Oh yeah, if you can't tell, I'm an '80s kid. It's starting to show in my face, in my back. I'm of the generation that grew up without internet. So there are some of us that walk amongst the rest of you that lived in a world with no internet and got to see that progression. It's kind of like, which I think is cool. It's a really cool thing to have experienced because people don't anymore. But it's kind of like my great grandfather who experienced kind of the evolution of vehicles. I'd be great grandfather. My great great grandfather. You just don't get to experience that all the time, but our generation did. We know a world that didn't have that everything wasn't connected, and if you wanted to find something, you had to look it up in a card catalog, or you had to go to the library, or if you had an encyclopedia, you had to look it up in the index and you had to figure it out. I think that's actually a difference between maybe the generation that I came from and the now generation because we're used to having to figure things out. We're all, a lot of folks just have to look it up. Put it together, cheeseburger. Um, internet spotty in the country. Drag the puzzle piece to keep on listening. Oh, yeah, the yellow pages. I need a plumber. Who can I call here? AAA Plumbing? No. Oh, I can't remember their phone number. Let me look it up. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, the encyclopedia, the yellow pages, the card catalog, rotary phones, carbureted engines. Yeah, just picking a number out of the phone book and just calling them. Hey, is your refrigerator running? You better go catch it. Yeah, dude, we did that. I don't think we did the refrigerator one. I also remember when we're out there playing Army and we're using those play school walkie-talkies, and if you got too close to the power lines, you could pick up phone conversations from the power lines, which I'm sure those radio frequencies were probably in the level of giving people cancer. I lost my smooth jazz. There we go. Smooth jazz and a Diet Pepsi. I'm just kidding. I don't drink Diet Pepsi. DRC. Got them Mopars. 68 Charger. That's the gorgeous one with the round taillights. All right, Skid. I like to play the smooth jazz. You've been here for a minute. Usually on my analytics, it'll show how long you watched it, and then I usually follow like the top 5. So I'll add you. Thanks for hanging out. Hold on, I missed. DZ, how would I like to sponsor your car? Well, I don't really have a budget for that, but hopefully I do one day. Are you racing? I don't think I need a testicle, Dylan, but here's the thing that's crazy. You could get one. See you, Skid. Thanks for hanging out. I do appreciate it. The whole lifeblood of my nonprofit is people like you hanging out and chatting, so I do genuinely appreciate it. Next time I'll play some Guar. I'll keep you up. Oh, yeah, maybe one day. But right now, all of my budget, anything that AuxAuto gets in donations all goes to provide financial mechanical assistance for people that depend on their transportation for getting through life. I basically pay the shop bills for people who can't afford to make them safe or operable that actually need it. So like when I started, also when I started this, I don't think I did a good job of explaining it because I had posted something on Vice Grip's fan page one time, and I got so much crap from people because they thought that I was like a car extended warranty thing. But honestly, I'll take responsibility for it because I didn't do a good job of explaining what it is. It kind of did sound like I covered the costs, like I was some kind of extended insurance thing, but that's not what it is. And so I learned from that experience. Jazz, man, I tell you what, one of my favorite channels on the radio, on Sirius XM radio, is channel 148, Radio Classics, where they play all of the old radio shows back in the day when people would sit in their living room in front of a radio and listen to radio shows. And everything was done live in a studio. There just wasn't a camera because it wasn't TV. But even with this music, you know, it's like the detective shows. There she was, sitting in my office, on my desk. Smoke filled the air and the fan was blowing. She said, "I need your help." And I said, "What for?" Those kind of things. Casey, sorry, the words kind of get lost. No, it's Roadrunner. But Super B, Roadrunner, Charger, B-Body. Very astute observation. I can give you points for that. Dave. Plus, it's like royalty-free jazz background music. When I used to go live playing music, and it would always cut off because of, you know, copyright stuff. So that kind of that didn't really help. So I don't want them to cut my live off for copyright reasons. I think I've been on here for like an hour, but I usually do this on Saturday for a couple of hours, but it's Wednesday. I've never done this on Wednesday. I don't have to get up at any time tomorrow. So I figured I'd check in. And here I am, promoting my automotive nonprofit. Trying to do something. That's what I'm trying to do. What tours? Am I supposed to go on a tour? Oh, you talking about the cars here? I forgot about that. For anybody watching on YouTube, I'm going to take TikTok on a little car tour back here. And I'll be back here in a minute. Also, my YouTube phone. Hey, Sam, I'm from the United States of America in Tennessee. My YouTube phone still is really low on battery. YouTube channel is the same. It's AuxAuto. Is that right? Cheeseburger. That's AuxAuto, right? It's not AuxAuto of Tennessee. It should be the same. I haven't lived in Seattle at all. I've been to Seattle. I've been to most states except for Hawaii, North Dakota. It might be it. Which one, Sam, on YouTube? The Charger, the big orange one? I love people in Ohio, sir or ma'am. I just went through Ohio. It's not me that doesn't like people from Ohio. It's people on social media that give you guys crap. My YouTube one's gonna die here. So, wow, okay, that's where the smooth jazz is playing from. This is the car I was talking about earlier. It's an '81 Corvette. This is the one that's kind of on loan. Still figuring out what we're gonna do with it. Whether I'm going to buy it, fix it and sell it, or fix it and sell it and give the guy that owns it what he wants from it. But it's pretty rough, honestly, and I don't think that these '81 Corvettes are they're not a high dollar car. So we'll figure that out. Although I did put tires on it, step one, and I know it runs because I got it running. This is the '79 Ford that I'm getting running for a family. Still working on it. It's a slow process. I'm kind of sad that it's taking me so long. Things keep happening. There was a small fire right here. I think it happened between the fuel hose and the carburetor and the distributor would have been here. So it just burned this and some of the wires. And when I looked at it originally, I felt like it was a pretty easy fix because it's electronic ignition, so I don't have to fix these wires. But it's a nice solid truck. Oh, also, this is the original engine to the Charger. It's a 383. Spun a cam bearing in there. Wasn't getting oil to the top of the engine, so I took it out. And then this little bathroom in here. I built this little faux wall thing to kind of look like a gas station. And then I put shelves in there for, they were out here, so they're kind of behind closed doors, which is fun little project. I got to titillate my construction endeavors. This is a '68 300. Yeah, DRC is a classic farm truck. If you were here earlier, I was talking about the interior. I don't know if you can see that, but when I bought this car, the plastic was still on the seats. And the lady that was selling it took them off front so she could take pictures of it. So the interior still looks pretty nice. Got some work to do on that. This car's name's Carol. I named it after the lady I bought it from. This is the Charger with the 440 from 1973. I also call this engine the black sheep because it's black and it doesn't belong, and that's what a black sheep is. Kind of neat, black sheep in my family. I love that car. Middle soul. And then this one, and it was a complete original interior. Until I got in touch with a guy in Kentucky named Duder Biggs, who owned this car in the mid 90s, and it was B5 blue, and then he painted it orange. He painted the hood scoops black, put a stripe around the back of it, had a vinyl top originally, and he sold it to a guy named Eric, and then Dad bought it from Eric in '97, and then in 2007 it got its transformation into this. But it wasn't just a pull the stripes off transformation. The guy that did the work on it, his name was Chris. He was from Florida, and he was so good. He was so good. He replaced the rear quarter panels because they were rusted. You know, in these B bodies, I'm sure some of you folks probably know, but these panels connect right here. Like this is the beginning of it, and that whole piece is one piece. He fixed that. You can't even tell it. And he painted these decals. These aren't they aren't stickers. They're paint. Jeez, Mikey, you don't have to kick a puppy. So last weekend, there's a group of guys around here that have they had Chargers. A couple of them have the Daisy car from the show. There's one guy that has all the vehicles, and they all went to an event up in I forgot where it was. It's Alabama. And one of the guys forgot that he had agreed to go to a church for their fundraiser because they're building. Well, they just built the church and they're having a fundraiser. So he got in touch with me and said, "Hey, can you go to this thing?" Was that a critter? So anywho, I was like, yeah, let me go to that. So I took the car to this church fundraiser, and it was the coolest thing ever. I met some awesome people, and there was this older gentleman there. He was like a little bit taller than me. The guy was like 6'4", and old guy, but just loved the car. So we didn't go home for a ride. Took him a ride around the neighborhood. Took a ride the pastor around the neighborhood. A couple of kids were there. I let them rev the engine up. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, so don't kick a puppy. Maybe one day you come out here to Auxland. The home base for AuxAuto, the automotive nonprofit that provides financial mechanical assistance to people that depend on transportation for getting through life. I basically pay the shop bills for people who can't afford to make their vehicles safe and operable. That's what we do. Hold on. I'm getting lost here. Cross. I don't know the value of this car, but I know that I have the original engine. It's mostly original interior. I have the original transmission in there. I mean, just go look up how much a 1969 Dodge Charger costs, and it'll give you an idea. But the body's all been redone. The only thing it lacks is probably, you could use a new wiring harness in the dash lights. Josh, the event was, there's a dude down in Alabama. I'm pretty sure it's Alabama. I just forgot his name because I was going to say earlier. It's Roger Hamblin is his name. He's got an entire warehouse of all Dukes of Hazzard stuff. He's got a matter of fact, I saw in one of his videos, he had a Dukes of Hazzard sleeping bag, and so I went on eBay and I found one because I had to have one. But there was a lot of people that went down to there. Tom Mopar, the guy that played, Luke Duke was there. Byron Sherry was down there. But it was just a big thing, and they all got together. One day I want to go to those things. I think it would be cool. But Yeah, anyway, that was done. You gotta check it out. If you're a fan of this car and you're a fan of the TV show. Is my oil leaking? Yeah, okay. I'm not sure what city it's in, but I'm pretty sure it's down there. It would be a cool. I'm pretty sure I don't know this, so don't surprise me. But I don't think it's like open to the public, but I'm pretty sure you can tour it. Yeah, I got a job. What is it? Dazed and confused. Working for the city, man. Money in my pocket. Besides, I don't want to have something to tell me what to do. So, all right, this is the Roadrunner. Last time I drove it, I got downpoured on it. So, part of my water spots. This is the original 1968 Plymouth Roadrunner 383. It's running its original carburetor, alternator. The distributor, I think, was new, but it was new back in the 90s. I put this in on my 1,200 mile Tennessee to Michigan, Tennessee road trip because it wasn't cooling right. When I got this car, I got it running as it sat. Matter of fact, I disconnected the fuel pump and I put fuel in the carburetor, and this car ran. It started and ran, which was great. But I could never get it tuned right, and it seemed like it was always missing. Matter of fact, when I would never really get on it because it was so. It's elderly, okay, that's what it is. It felt like if it was an automatic transmission, that when you really tromp down on the gas, the transmission would slip, but it's a 4-speed. Man, I'm gonna have to leave it unless that's got another zero on it. So and I could never get it tuned right, so I was kind of contemplating in teeter-tottering on taking the engine out and getting the machine because it was still original. I had nothing had been done to it. When I bought it, it was all original except for the red line tires and the fan shroud. It was the only thing missing. So I took it to the machine. I pulled the engine out and then I disassembled it all. Then I took it to the machine shop and I took the engine out. I took the heads off. I kept the rotating assembly so they could inspect it. Because if it was going to be fine, it was going to be fine. And it wasn't fine. The thrust bearings were worn out. And basically, the whole crank, when I would accelerate, the whole crank would move and it would separate from the clutch. And so the thrust bearing was worn out. So if I had kept driving it, it would have just been a catastrophic failure. So they bored it out, put 030 over. They reground everything, new piston heads. But when I put it back together, I didn't paint it like a big shiny piece of shiny shine. I put it back together to look like it's still original. So I cleaned things off, and like for instance, I don't know if the light shows it or not, but you know the valley pan is chrome, right? Now you can't see it. But it's not chrome, so I painted it to make it look like it's weathered. And I painted the front of the block to make it look like it's weathered. So I don't have real shiny orange and then I've got dirty orange everything else. So if I still had the original radiator in here, it would still look like an all original car. But now it's the original engine, but it runs with its 335 horsepower, which is kind of cool. I don't have anything for sale. My problem is, I buy these things with the intention of selling them, and then I don't ever sell them. So it doesn't seem to work out. Speaking of, Skid was on here earlier talking about hats, but I got this Roadrunner hat and a button. And then I was on eBay. And I found this here jacket. I got another one in there. It's a reproduction, but this is an original. I bought this from a lady. was selling it, and I told her that I've got this 1969 Roadrunner that used to belong to a guy named Bill, and I'm going to keep the jacket in the Roadrunner. And she messaged me back, and she said, man, that was my dad's thing. He loved it, and he passed away, I guess a year prior. And I was like, well, if it's any consolation to you, your dad is riding in a Roadrunner again. So there, he always goes with me. This is the documentation portion of my PowerPoint presentation. I'm missing all these comments, so I apologize. That's Bill. That's the original owner. This is when they drove it down here in probably 1970. A couple of things. These are all copies. The originals are in another folder. This is the window sticker. The other folder's in the trunk. Got a couple ads. This is the original estimate. $3,100. The car was sold to Bill by Pete Manos in Detroit. The car was to be delivered Tuesday. You probably can't read that. Delivered Tuesday, 9/24/1968 at 3 p.m. This is the statement of vehicle sale. He also, I'll say that in a minute. The work order with the options. Car's got the light group performance axle package, tinted glass, all of it. The remote mirror, defogger, push button radio, vinyl top, road wheels, and the Z-Bar rust process. Original title. This is what I was talking about earlier. I don't know if anybody was here because it was a while ago. But this is the original owner Bill doing the math to make sure that he can afford the options on it, like the radio, the Z-Bar, the high performance axle package, the destination charge. And this is what I was talking, I said this earlier, but the lady that I bought it from is Bill's daughter. She was looking at this, and then she's like, oh, this is my mom's handwriting. She's checking Bill's math to make sure he didn't mess it up. It's also kind of fun. This is the actual final bill of sale. And this is the check that Bill bought it with. He got a $2,000 check, and the rest of it was cash. Z-Bar rust process, the proof of insurance. It's got the, see, we got the VIN number on it. And if I ever lose the key, I can send this key code to Chrysler and they can cut me a new one. More promo stuff. And then when I go to car shows or events, obviously this one in the trunk here, I've got like Bo and Luke's bow and arrow, fake dynamite, fake moonshine. And this one's kind of like the 68's kind of like traveling. So I have these old suitcases, family traveling. And this one is just kind of like maintenance. So I have a bunch of old tools, Chrysler products, fluids, and stuff. So that's kind of the theme of that one because he took care of the car. That's all I got in here. I keep mentioning the other cars in another building. This shop here is all Marshland. Building right here. Projects up there. That's the one we've got some cars parked in. Just in case you're wondering, they've got their hoods up, except for the Corvette. Man, I'm throwing throwing Ewins around like it ain't nothing. Sorry, Sam. I'm back. Thanks for subscribing. Sam over on YouTube. I do appreciate it. That's how I sustain my philanthropic endeavors and my whole existence. Viking, which one? Yes, sir. Well, except for the blue Ford. That's not mine. And then we're still figuring out what to do with the 81 Corvette. I guess you could call them promotional items. Yes, money. I grew up a GM kid. I got a healthy fascination with the history of Ford. I got a lot of family that worked at Ford. But I got to say, man, I know a lot of people that have Chevy trucks that have over 350,000 miles. One specifically I know has got 518,000 miles on it. Zach, I wish, man. I don't think it's that much. This Plymouth Roadrunner is an all original. So it's got its issues. It's got a couple of rust spots in the quarter panels. I patched up some stuff in the floor just so I don't have rocks and air coming through it, but it's still together, still runs. Oh man, Knuckles, I'm gonna probably need to get a hold of you because I don't know a whole lot about Corvettes, especially this one, but the intention is to get it running and clean it and sell it and use the proceeds to fund my nonprofit. Brendan, I lost Skeeter on the smooth jazz, but it's so relaxing out here in the country with the crickets in the wind and the smooth jazz playing with AuxAuto. You're listening to WAUX. AuxAuto, relaxing all the time. Yeah, the Mopars ain't cheap, especially now. Even these C-bodies. The yellow one. Of course, a lot of people will buy those C-bodies and take the engine out of them or use them for derby cars. Of course, that makes people mad. Donald, the green car is a 69 Plymouth Roadrunner. Roscoe P. Coltrane. Man, I think, I don't know, Viking. You asked me something and I missed it. We're just going to scroll down here and see what that was. Oh, did he pass away? I don't remember who you were talking about. Donald's coming in with the birthday roses. My daughter's birthday. We're at in Tennessee, or general area. Yeah, Bill did. He passed away. And matter of fact, because I put out the feelers to find another project when I got this 68 done and running, and Bill was still alive because the owner's daughter reached out to me. She's like, my dad's got a 69 Roadrunner, but I don't think he wants to get rid of it. And then about a year later, he passed away. So she got in touch with me, and she's like, I don't know what to do with this car. So I told this earlier, so sorry if I'm repeating it, but she said a family member offered her $5,000 for it, and I was like, oh, that's disappointing. I just said, don't do anything with it. Let me just come look at it. Like, I'm no expert. I don't claim to be an expert, but what she had at the time was an all original, except for the tires and the fan shroud, all original numbers matching, original engine, which is what that means, fully documented, big block, 4-speed, 2-door Chrysler product. And I was like, you can get some change for this. And originally, I was going to bring it out here and get it running and fix it, list it, tell a story about it, and sell it, and then take like 15%. But they decided they just wanted to sell it. And I was like, okay, well, I can still do the same thing. I'll buy it. And then kind of fell in love with it. Bill and I have a relationship now. But everything that I go to and everything that I do now, the original owner's family can see the car still existing and going to shows and driving. When I went up to Michigan in June, it was the first time the car had been back to Michigan since 1970. So it was kind of a cool thing when I crossed that line, state line. Oh, you're East Tennessee. Yeah, Frank. They all run. Honestly, the 300 runs too. But when I got back from Mopar, I wanted to do a burnout in the 300 because, that's just what you do. And it didn't start. The starter's finally just given out. It doesn't. It just clicks. Same thing that the Roadrunner did. On my road trip to Michigan, the starter went out. The big old 440, 727. Oh man, I had another thought and I lost it. It happens often. Oh yeah, so oh, I know. That was one of the things that drove me to the car originally, because when she showed me all that stuff, that's when I knew. I was like, we're gonna have Bill and I are gonna have a relationship. So I go to a local car show about. It was early June. I go to a car show, and I got there early. My daughter and I went to it, and parked the car. Was just kind of milling around, and there was a guy looking at it, and there was nobody else really there yet, but he was looking at it like he was a spectator, but he was wearing a Pistons Club shirt. That's one of the car clubs that's around here. So I was like, hey, I told my daughter, I said, let's go talk to this guy. And the first thing he said to me, he goes, is this a local car? And I was like, yeah, I actually bought it from somebody who passed away a couple years ago. And he goes, yeah, I know. I drove this car down from Detroit in 1970, and my brother drove his U-Haul. And I was like, I'm sorry, you're Bill's brother? And he goes, yeah. Because I'm his brother. He goes, I went up. He goes, I drove this thing. He goes, it was fun. It was really fun. And which was cool. So that's probably the first time he's seen the car since the early 90s, because I don't think it ran, or maybe mid 90s, which was cool. So I got a video a couple of videos ago or away where he got to sit in the driver's seat. But it was kind of cool because it's Bill's brother. Bill passed away, and he's seeing the car for the first time in probably 25 years, and he recognized it instantly. He's like, I know that car. I know that car. And when he said he drove it down from Detroit to Tennessee in 1970, it was the coolest thing. And then we got rained on because I wanted him to drive it again. Yeah, it was it's funny because earlier I was talking about how when I told the original story about Bill, it kind of launched my YouTube channel, and I don't claim to have a whole lot of people on YouTube, but at the time I had 100 subscribers, and it went from 100 to 300 because of Bill. And it was kind of my introduction, like, hey, I'm AuxAuto, here's the story of this car, but here's what I'm trying to do. And then after I met Mike is his name, I told that story on TikTok on here, because sometimes I promote videos and I'll pay for them to get more views because I'm trying to promote. That's what I do. But I don't use money from donations for that. I still just pay for that out of, I pay for it, not AuxAuto. It got like 48,000 views, and again, so Bill came through again with his stories. So he's just like the car that keeps on giving. Keeps on giving promotion. So yeah, I don't think I can get rid of it. Eventually, I mean, we're all stewards of these things. Eventually somebody else will buy them, will have them, but it's just not the time right now. Which brings me to another point. When I was in the process of buying this car, the original owner's daughter, obviously there was a lot of emotional attachment to it because it's been it's been a part of her whole life. One of those pictures that I had in that binder, if you zoom in on the digital version, which the digital version is a picture of the original version because we didn't have digital photos then, she's in the back of it, which is kind of cool. But when I loaded it up on the trailer, I mean, there was a lot of emotions because she's seeing that thing that's been a part of their life, that was a part of her dad's personality, now leaving and going somewhere else. So a couple weeks later, I went back over there to pick up some other documentation, and she's just talking about how much of an emotional toll that whole thing was on their whole family. I mean, even for the grandkids that knew that car was part of their grandpa. And she said, especially I got a couple of cars, but she said, just make sure you figure that all out before something happens to you. So I did have that conversation with my daughter, because if something was to happen to me, I mean, I've got a will that pretty much states everything, but specifically for her, I don't expect her to hold on to anything that I have an emotional attachment to, because that doesn't do her. Where's she gonna park the Charger, right? So I told her, I said, you have free reign to sell everything and anything that I have, and the property, the shop, the cars, everything you have, and then use any bit of money that you make from whatever I enjoyed and invest that into something that you enjoy. Invest it into something that brings you as much happiness as this does for me. So I think that's also important to clearly state those things, especially for people of my generation that put a lot of emotional attachment into these cars that we work on. We sweat in them, we bleed in them. And then I think children and family often feel guilty to get rid of them because of how close we are to them. That's my lesson for tonight. $20 right now for, what can I get you? I can get you some small block engine paint, maybe. Maybe I'll throw in 2 of them. I can't do a whole car, but I can do a couple of cans. Oh, I keep forgetting. There is YouTube's over here, TikTok's over here, or vice versa, depending on how it flips the thing. Patrick on YouTube says those cars are not real. And Francisco, I don't have any 70 Challenger parts, but I do have leftover parts. Kind of, I don't really have stock parts because I don't sell parts, but I've got some leftover and probably random from 68 to 74. But most of the things that I have were replaced. Like, I would take a starter off and hang on to it because they can be rebuilt, but it doesn't necessarily work. And then, you know, I've got some random like Charger trim and stuff like that, but I doubt that I'm going to be able to help you with that. Patrick, are you still on YouTube? Also, I guess where I'm sitting, I have a light here, which you can probably see in my glasses, and I have to wear the glasses because I can't read the words. Can't read the words. They're so small, the smallest words ever. Um, I guess the background looks fake, but they're there. No, I mean like they are there. No, I was not. I'm not military. Although I did do ROTC in college, but no, I'm not in the military. If you're referring to the cornhole boards, there is a young lady that helped me build this place pretty much, and because I did a lot of work and put it into it, and she is in the Navy, still in the Navy. Restore what on YouTube? Francisco is restoring a 1970 Challenger. How should I divide it into phases? I guess that depends on how bad. Are you doing like a? Wouldn't really be a frame off because there's no frame. But is it like 100% resto? How much you bench? I do work out. Surprised you didn't notice. I don't weight train though. I do like sandbag workouts and body weight stuff. I used to work out like that. I'm lagging. I'm sorry. I'm lagging. I'm lagging so bad. The worst lagger ever. I'm lagging so bad. So bad. Z-Man. Yes. They are my cars, except for I've got a truck over here that's not mine that I'm working on. And then I got a Corvette over here that's not mine that it's also part of my automotive nonprofit, but it's not technically mine. We're still trying to figure that out. Oh, thank you, sir. And yeah, Z-Man, so I'm also kind of pushing the bandwidth limits in here because I've got TikTok on one side, I've got YouTube on one side, and then I've got YouTube, my music YouTube channel on the TV, playing some smooth jazz, some light jazz on WAUX. There's a bunch of Barracudas at Mopar. That's the OG muscle car. Oh, heck no. No. Matter of fact, I didn't even get to talk to a lot of people at Mopar because it was hot. My plans got all messed up because I didn't get there until late Friday, and then I got set up early on Saturday, walked around for a little bit, then ended up leaving for a couple hours and then coming back and watching Vice Grip Garage, Vandemonium, and then I had to leave out early Sunday morning, like 4:30 or 5, so it didn't pan out. Man, I tell you what, I rented a cabin, and I had planned on having all these people come over, and then things sort of cut that short, and I couldn't cancel the cabin, so I ended up staying in there in like a 6-person cabin with just me for basically a half a day, and I had it for the whole weekend. But things happen. Next year will be fun. I want that Power Wagon, but I can't afford it. And then I had planned on, but I forgot, the Redneck Rumble. And then I ended up going to taking the Charger to a fundraiser last weekend. So no, I really haven't. Over on YouTube, Francisco is restoring a 70 Challenger. Sat for 27 years. Jeez. Reading. Yeah, it really depends on the condition. But honestly, if you're going to do the whole thing, obviously you're going to want to take the drivetrain out and get it done while you're doing everything else. But it's kind of like if you look at an exploded view of it, the engine comes out, and then all the electrical comes out, then you fix all the metal, and then you do the electrical, and then you do the drivetrain once it gets done. That's what I would do. Or you do it, I don't know. You do it and you get it running and then you fix the... No, I wouldn't do that. Because if it's been sitting that long, you probably got a lot of stuff on the inside and underneath that you got to address. What's up, bro? Your dream, sir. You must have nightmares if this is your dream. It was also my dream. I have something I wrote when I was in junior high. I think I read it on this channel at one point. Talking about what I want to do for the rest of my life. And it literally was talking about having a shop. I'll have to find that piece of paper. And so that would have been like junior high school. So this right now, me sitting here, is a culmination of all those years of heartache. And I say heartache jokingly, but it really isn't. When I had all these cars at my parents' house for the longest time, and I wanted a place to put them. And man, things just kept falling through, or I'd put an offer on a place, and then, or I'd find something that was cool, but it was too far out, or it was too far the other way out of town, or I couldn't afford it, or it's just it was frustrating, is what it was. Especially nowadays, because everything's so expensive. But they just weren't the right ones, and then this one ended up being. Wolfang, Dukes of Hazzard car, you are correct. Green one is a Roadrunner. You are also correct, user 868-692-342. I got, yeah, so Viking, I think that's one of the things that I like most about these old cars, because I also happen to enjoy history. And I also happen to enjoy research. So I recently reconnected with the person that bought the Charger from the person who had it new, because it was bought from a dealership in Bowling Green. And I talked to him on the phone for a while about this car, because I'm just connecting all the pieces. In this 1968 Chrysler 300, I found an old registration card in the manual. And I did some internet searching, and then I ended up finding an obituary for that gentleman's wife, and in the obituary were family members that were listed. And then I did some social media cross-referencing, kind of like how I have YouTube here and TikTok over here, or vice versa. And I found said person on Facebook, and I sent them a message, and since we're not friends, they never saw the message. And I happened to see her post at one point where she was looking for a new vehicle, and one of her friends had mentioned, hey, why don't you get a 75 Volare? And she laughed at it, because that was probably a car that she had that was rough. And then I commented on her post, and I said, how about a 1969 Chrysler 300 four-door? Here's a picture. And she said, "Oh my God, that's funny. My dad had one just like that." And I was like, "Actually, check your inbox. This was your dad's car." And then we talked back and forth for I don't know how you could time a typed conversation, but 10 or 15 minutes about the car. And I had mentioned that when I bought it, I took the dealer plastic off the seats. And she was like, "Yeah, my dad didn't want to take that off. That was their family car that they took trips on. And that was the only time that they drove it. But he wouldn't take the plastic off because he knew that he would sell it back to a dealership. But it was fun talking to the person that used to ride in that car when she was a kid. And I had sent her a bunch of pictures of it because her dad is or was on Facebook, so he could get pictures of it. But then I never was able to connect with him. But I traced it all the way back to Voorheesville, New York, was where that car came out of. But I like connecting the cars and their people and their history and their stories. Another one is when I when my dad and I got this '69 Charger. We had also had, oh man, there's a whole story that goes with this one too, because my parents never really had a good reputation of surprising me or being able to get away with it because I would always happen to find things. And this Charger was the ultimate in pulling off a heist. And I can tell you that story some other time. But before this one, we had two '68 Chargers. One of them was a shell, one of them was a runner. And then I sold those in 2003 for $3,500. And then like 2 years ago, I'm going through some old filing cabinet stuff, and I ended up finding the original bill of sale for that '68, and it's got the name that the guy that my dad bought it from. And when we sold it, we had the bill of sale from the guy that we sold it to. So social media, checked it out. His homepage has the '68 Charger on it. And I sent him a message. I was like, "Hey, is there any chance that that Charger, the last six of the VIN or whatever the VIN was?" And as I pushed send, he was already responding to me. He's like, "Why?" And I say, "I think that you bought it from us in 2003. And his first response was, "Oh my God, I have been trying to find and track you down for the last 15 years. So we ended up having this long conversation about it. And I was able to connect him with the person that my dad bought it from in Texas, who bought it from somebody in California. And so the whole story of that car was completed from when it used to be called Balls to the Wall until Guy bought it. So it was kind of another cool connection. Yeah, from whatever '03 to, I don't know, I'm not a math guy, whatever '03 to 22 is. Which one? The Chargers? They're like 3,200 pounds, aren't they? Or are you talking about me? Man, I've been on here a long time. This is all I was going to do tonight. The build sheet I have for the '68. I don't want to have one for the '69 because Duder Biggs would have redone most of that car. And I've got for the Roadrunner, I've got the build sheet, the bill of sale, the window sticker, the estimate, the work order, the check it was bought with, the proof of insurance in 1968. And then I've got the build sheet for the '74, I believe, also. Yeah, I guess when he bought that car, we had to go back to, because he's still kind of local. He's in Tennessee. There was something that happened with the title or something, and I had to meet him back at the bank and sign something. I don't remember what it was. But, and then we just lost touch. I mean, we didn't keep in touch, but I guess he didn't keep the bill of sale or whatever. Oh, I think he moved a couple times, and I think he misplaced some of the stuff, but wasn't able to track any of that down. Yeah, most of the build sheets were all under the back seats in the springs. That's what I've got the original build sheet for the road. It's in the trunk. They've all got the little zigzags in it from like the back seats. I don't have any seats in here. I'm a real person. I appreciate that, BP. And let me tell you what I'm doing here. AuxAuto is a 501c3 nonprofit in the state of Tennessee. It's registered in the state of Tennessee. I provide financial mechanical assistance to people that depend on their transportation for getting through life. I basically pay for the shop bills for people who depend on their transportation but can't afford to make them safe or operable. What they need it to get to what they do. They need it to get to work. They need it to get to school. They need to get to medical appointments. They need it to pick kids up. But they just can't afford it because everything's expensive. So basically, I come in and I pay for those repairs. I don't do, it's not an extended warranty. It's just a nonprofit thing that I started. And just to alleviate the burden off of people being in situations that I've been in. Rocky, I'm right here. I'm right here. Right here with you on Wednesday night, listening to some smooth jazz, talking about AuxAuto. I am in Tennessee, though. I'm sorry. I get carried away. Middle Tennessee. Right now, I'm way out in the country. That's where I like to be. That's a good question, Victory. So I have had some people donate money in the beginning. My first AuxAuto Assist was funded by my father, who said, this is a cool thing. Here's $1,000. And that's what the first one cost. Most of it was from me working overtime to pay for things. And then I was able to get some people to donate some money, very generous. And that way I could get some of these AuxAuto Assists together. I could make videos of it and I could promote them. So eventually, and hopefully, what I'm trying to do is garner enough social media support and people to where I have a following that's big enough to where it can turn into some kind of monetization. And then all of my social media income will fund all of the AuxAuto Assists. So far, I'm up to 15 of them, AuxAuto Assists. So everything that I do with this program has something to do. AuxAuto is the name of it. AuxAuto Assists are the cars that I fix. This place that I'm at where my shop is called AuxLand, which is also a separate YouTube channel where I just kind of do like property maintenance. AuxLand is also incorporated into another business here recently. And the truck that I use to haul vehicles with is Oxy with an A, not an O, because I don't want you to confuse that with a highly addictive painkiller. And the cars that I fix are AuxAuto Assists. And like I said, I'm up to 15 of them since 2021 to a tune of about 15 grand. I would love to be able to do like one a month eventually, but I'm not there yet. It's a slow process. I had here's another story. This is great. There's a guy, we'll just say his name's Tim. We were at a car show locally not too long ago. Guy's got this, oh man. I'm sorry, Tim, I forgot what it is. It's, I can't remember what car he has, man, but it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous silver, and it's got a 392 in it. Yeah, this is not my full-time gig. I work a full-time job, which funds all the things that don't make money. Man, oh yeah, so I wish I could remember. I can't think of it. I'll think of it later. But anyway, so we're at this car show, and it starts to rain, and then it dries up, and there's not that many. There's less people than anticipated that went to it. So they're trying to get everybody to kind of pool in the center of this giant parking lot. Well, Tim locks his keys in his trunk, and you don't really want to just like pop the trunk with a crowbar because it's a gorgeous car. So he calls a locksmith, and the locksmith's like, man, I can get in it, but I just, I'm probably going to damage the lock. I don't think it's possible to do it without it. And I said, it would be funny. What would be funny is if your Plymouth has the same trunk key that my Plymouth does. What do we got to lose, right? So my Plymouth Roadrunner trunk key luckily worked in his trunk, which was the coolest feeling ever, to try something that seems ridiculous and to hear that trunk go pop and it open up and save him like, $300 on a locksmith to come out. So in return, he goes, let me give you some money. And I was like, no, don't worry about that. I said, just subscribe to my YouTube channel because I got a nonprofit that does whatever it is. So anyway, I ended up hanging out with him and his friends the whole time he was there. And then later on, he cut me a check, sent it through the mail. And so that's the next AuxAuto Assist will be funded by his donation, and then the one before that. But I'm not asking you for money. I'm not asking you to send any money. All I'm asking you to do is subscribe to this or share it or tell somebody about it, because hopefully the plan is to get enough people interested to where this stuff can fund the nonprofits. Yeah, so apparently a lot of those trunk keys, because they're separate keys too. Before I put it in there, you look at the teeth on the key and they're completely separate. And for whatever reason, the key still worked. What's Yaktown? Oh yeah, I don't know if you were here earlier, but I've tried to do giveaways a couple times. Like I said, I don't have a whole lot of following on. I just don't have a whole lot of following. But I had like one weekend I was out here, and I said I'm going to make a video, and at the end of it, I'm going to put an email address. And if you see that video and you send me an email, the first one that sends me the email address, I'll give you a $100 gift card. And I've tried to do some of those little giveaways to where they're not like lotteries or they're not drawings, because there's a whole bunch of legal stuff that you have to do if you're going to do one of those. But no luck. But eventually, yes, I will entertain those things too. Oh, earlier there was a guy came in and did a shout out to my TNN hat, and I was like, that kind of stuff is what I want to do. Like when I get on live and the first person that says, oh man, I know what that is. I know what TNN was. How much? One charger. There's one charger. One charger. Yes, Tyler, that is a... Wait, is that the same Viking on YouTube that's on the TikTok? Or are there two Vikings? No, I'm in Tennessee, JJ. I keep moving so I can see the words. The 69 Charger, it's originally a 383. It's sitting over here on an engine stand because it spun a cam bearing, and I took that engine out and I put a 440 from a 1973 RV in there so I could just drive, put miles on it, and not worry about wear and tear on the original. The original actually was bored out 30 thousandths and rebuilt, but then it spun the cam bearing that delivers oil to the top of the engine, so it wasn't getting oil pressure. So instead of taking that and getting it fixed, I found that 440 and just refreshed it and put it in there. Oh man, my twins in Yakima, there's somebody as ugly as this in another state. I gotta find out who they are. It's not for sale unless you want to pay a lot more than it's worth. I think Viking went over to YouTube and subscribed, which is awesome. I shall return momentarily. Listen to some cool jazz. Well, I missed you guys. I could set up a live stream and then actually I have a plethora of security cameras around my property. I could hook it up to a live stream and just everybody can just watch it. And then if something happens, you can message me. Oh, I gotta plug this back in. That's why it's dying. BP, tap it up. BP's becoming an OG. Actually, sometimes when I'm on live, mostly on the weekends, there's a lady named Gina. Huge supporter, an awesome person. I started calling her the Brawler, like the Holly carburetor, because I was calling her the OG, but I'm going to start calling people that are like BP, I'm going to start calling you guys Brawlers. Because you're pumping that fuel in, brother. Koala? Oh, I get it. Koala. Oxfam, that's right. Oh, dang it. Hold on. I got to screenshot that. I am going to use that. Matter of fact, so on TikTok, and I don't expect you to do this right now, and I'm not asking you to do this, but you can subscribe to TikTok. It was another thing that they recently opened up to some creators, I guess. I don't like that title. I guess, how about business owners that use TikTok for promotion? To subscribe to the channel for $6 a month, and eventually I'll be able to do that on YouTube, and I'm pretty sure you can do that on Facebook, but that's what I'm gonna call them. And I screenshotted that because you coined the phrase. Seems simple too with the whole Aux thing, the Oxfam. So anybody that becomes a subscriber is gonna be the Oxfam. And I think that's the thing with like giveaway type things, like the random ones. It's a lot easier if you have people that can get notified of those things instead of just kind of a random video. Because, I mean, people work on the weekends, and their weekends may not actually be their weekends. Their weekend could be Tuesday or Wednesday, which, you know, or tonight. So, yeah, that's a good idea. Ox herd, I like that too. I don't think people want to be associated with large bovine. What do you think it is, that one? Fair enough. So I've got TikTok over here. There's a couple people here. I don't have a lot on YouTube, and my phone still is not charged up. So we're going to take a walk over there. And we're going to look at the 1969 Dodge Charger base model. Originally, actually. Let me start this tour over here at the original engine. This guy. And the oh, it's down there. It's covered in paint. That's the original engine for the 69 Roadrunner. Pretty black. So now it's got a 440 cubic inch RV motor that I have named Black Sheep because it's painted black. Doesn't belong. These a lot of times these RV 440s are slept on because they were detuned when people pull them out of RVs. I want to say that this RV motor had 36,000 miles on it. So I think the 300 had 56,000. I think this only had 36,000 miles on it. You find one of these things, but I bought that for $1,000, and you can do a lot of stuff. But this is just completely stock. I took it completely apart, just refreshed it, put it back together like it was. Still a good running torque. Got some torque to it. E2. I think we're going to start this one up. I said earlier, this one's pretty mild. It's got like, I think it's turbos. It's a true dual. But it's pretty mild. I was in a parade in high school. My dad and I got this in 97-ish. It was our thing. My dad had like a thing with all of his kids, collected cards with one of the brothers, investing in probably one of the ones I should have looked into. But I was in a parade and a battery died. That was before it looked like that. At the time, it had a racing stripe on it, and the scoops were black. But I put a Dixie horn in it because I also had a Dixie horn in my first vehicle, which was a 1990 Suburban, and the battery died when I came through where the stands were. So my Dixie horn went like wah 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 ha ha. It was my big moment. So it was funny. So then when we watched it on the local television show, the commentators. So this is a 1969 Dodge Charger from the Dukes of Hazzard. Even though it didn't look like that, but it was still a 69 Charger, and I think I even had I had decals on it. And when I was watching it on the replay, I'm pulling up to the grandstands, and the commentators are like, "Oh, look there!" I don't know why all of a sudden they're from Fargo. Oh, look there! This is I think there's a 67 Charger, 67 Charger, and the other guy was like, "Yeah, I believe that car was at Starsky and Hutch back in the day. So 67 Charger from Starsky and Hutch, and then do 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 oh oh." It was a great experience. Merry Christmas, 1998. Good time though. I wish I need to find that. Never down south. There's a lot of people from Detroit in this area. That was, my dad and I got that car back in the mid 90s, late 90s, when you could find two-door, big block, original Chrysler products for $6,000. Where's that at in California? Mopar K, don't play. Man, one of my biggest, I was talking about this earlier, but back a long time ago, when I was still in high school, I had all of these things that I wanted to do, and they seemed so far-fetched. But as I got older, I realized that all of the things that I ever wanted to do, I got to experience them on some level. So I got to do everything that I ever wanted to do, including this shop and this program, AuxAuto, the nonprofit that provides financial mechanical assistance to people that depend on the transportation for getting through life. But I want to go on a back and forth east to west trip in a classic car. I recently did a Tennessee to Michigan, Michigan to Tennessee in this 69 Plymouth Roadrunner. It was a total of 1,200 miles. But it's something that I want to do, and at some point I'll end up doing it, because that's just kind of that's how we go through life. We set goals for ourselves, and then we try to achieve them. And if we don't, if we get close, we're still setting the bar pretty high. We're still accomplishing the things that we want to do. Yeah, but I don't think I'll be able to drive that fast. Cannonball Run. Sorry, Xander, over on YouTube. Yes, that is a 69 Dodge Charger. I'm not sure when you came in here, because I got YouTube on one side and I've got TikTok on the other. Yeah. Is it Domino? Yes, always, but I don't need to. I really need to put some money into some other things. But it's just so tempting. It's a good addiction, I guess. I mean, honestly, it's an investment, right? Cars depreciate, but old cars appreciate. Matter of fact, when I bought this Roadrunner, I didn't have the money to buy it. I borrowed the money to buy it because I was going to buy it, fix it, list it, make videos of it, and sell it. But as the months went by and I realized I like this car, I don't want to sell this car, I'm going to keep this car. And then it kind of became a staple of AuxAuto, the nonprofit that provides financial mechanical assistance to people that depend on their transportation for a living. I say that a lot, but that's why I'm here. I basically cover the shop bills for people that can't afford to make their vehicle safe and operable. And so my business model is simple. I buy cars to sell them, and I never sell them. I don't know why I'm not making any money. And then I come on social media and I listen to some smooth jazz on radio station WAUX, the Smooth Jazz channel. Yeah, that's true. Earlier when I was talking about, I'll give you an abridged version, but when I bought this car, it'd been in the family since the owner bought it new. So the lady that I bought it from, her dad bought it new. Her dad passed away, and then I bought it from her. But when I was leaving with that car, it was such a huge emotional strain on her, plus her family, plus the grandkids, because everybody knows it's their grandpa, their dad, their family member passed away, which is stressful enough. And now they're seeing the thing that they still have to identify themselves with him is now leaving, going somewhere else. And it was such an emotional thing that she told me, she's like, listen, you need to figure this out between like you and your daughter. So whenever something happens to you at some point, she doesn't feel guilty about getting rid of these things. So we did. I had a conversation with my daughter about it, because all of these things that I enjoy and this place that I enjoy, that brings me so much, it centers my soul and it brings me so much clarity. This is my place. This is my peace here. And so are these things. If something were to happen to me, she has full reign to sell every single thing that's here and every single thing that I held close to me, and then use that money to buy something or do something that she holds close to her. So there's no guilt about, I mean, this Charger has been in my daughter's life her whole life. So she knows that if something happens to me that she can sell it, because what's she gonna do with the 69 Charger? I mean, park it at her apartment? I mean, it would be a waste. So sell it, get what it's worth, and then use that money to do the things that you enjoy in life. So anyway, yes. Sorry, Mopar. That eventually, yes, somebody will be the steward of these historic relics. She honestly might. Actually, when she turns 16, actually her birthday's today, and when she turned 16, she's like, all right, Dad, I think I figured it out, because we were going to get her a car, right? She goes, I think I figured out what I want to get. She said, I think I want to go with, I guess this would have been 2021 or 22. She goes, I think I want a 2021 Dodge Hellcat wide body. I said, I love you, but no. I don't have a cat, but I need one out here because there's little critters that run around. Yeah, that's also true. I mean, her interests may change. I was working on I got a early 64. What was the first year of the Mustang? 64? 64 and a half, early 65. 4-speed 289 in here. And she loved that thing because, it's a lot smaller than a B-body Mopar. She was like, I would drive that. I would drive that one. But that's the thing. When we change her oil, aside from the last 2 times, she'll bring her car out here and we'll change it. She'll change it. She put new headlights in her old Cobalt. She put accent lights in it. Like, she likes doing that stuff. So, I mean, it's true. She could sell everything else and then just, I don't know, buy a smaller garage and put the car in it. But yeah, the point is, we just established we clarified those things so she doesn't ever have to feel the thing that the lady I bought this Roadrunner from, because it was an emotional toll, and it can be. Oh, it's 68 satellite. That is awesome. I had a friend that was given a satellite, and he got a hold of me, and we brought it out here, and we got it running. But it's a 70, but it's also a 4-door. He named it Sally. Sally the satellite. Oh, that's what I want to do. I've got this 68 300 back here, 4-door, and after I got back from Mopar, I was like, because I don't have like car builds. I don't race cars. But after Mopar, I was like, man, I just want to do that, or have a burnout car, like a 700 horsepower 4-door C-body Chrysler. I think that would be awesome. And then the starter went out. Yeah, just Mopar Joe. Wait, isn't he around here? Has he got the purple? Has he got a purple Cuda? Yeah. Well, I think he comes to a lot of shows around here because he keeps winning them. All right, that one, Lancer. Thanks for hanging out. Honestly, you're hanging out. You're helping, doing the thing that I'm trying to do. So I do appreciate you being here. And he runs racing fuel because I always smell it. Yeah, I thought he lived around here because I've seen him at so many things, and he keeps winning all the shows. Here's what I get. I get participation trophies. It says, "Sorry, but thanks for coming." I don't even do like the car show thing. I go to car shows. That's not what I mean. Like, I like going to car shows, but like, I'll enter a car show, but I won't turn in my sheet for voting. Or like the last one I went to, I didn't even clean the car off. The last one that I took the Roadrunner to, I didn't even clean it off because it's all original. It's a driver, so it's kind of like I'll take it to Walmart, then I'll take it to a car show. Where are you at, Viking? I forgot. Yeah, Mopar. Okay, I think I'm sort of migrating that way now also because I've always just kind of told people I'm just a cruiser guy. I like getting the cars running, and I like cruising through the country, back roads. Which when I took this Roadrunner up to Michigan, I took all state highways. So it took, the actual route was 12 hours. So I split it up 6 and 6. But it's just cruising. But after Mo Party this year, I was like, that would be just fun to do the rally course or do the burnout thing or even just have I mean, I'm not going to win any trophies or anything, but build a drag car. So I don't know. Maybe that's what I'll end up doing with a Corvette. Yeah, I feel like I'm in the same spot you are. It took me 20 years longer to figure it out, but man, actually I could use the Corvette for that. Or at least a burnout car. Yeah, Danny, 69 Roadrunner. But the other problem is I don't know anything. I don't know anything about it. If there was like a drag night, and I would know absolutely nothing. But then then I've got to contend with, do I want to take all the original everything out of the Roadrunner? Not the Roadrunner, but the 300. So yeah, I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I do have friends that drag race. I guess step one for me would be to find the car and start building it. That's why I've got a couple of projects that I could turn into something. But now, so I don't know how long you've been here, but I've got this 81 Corvette over here. And it's kind of a loaner to the AuxAuto program. It's either going to be fixed up and sold, and then all the proceeds go to my nonprofit, or I'm just going to buy it outright and then eventually sell it. But honestly, I could do what I did with the Hoopty Cross stuff. I could turn that into a drag car and then just go to things as a promotion. I don't know. Now you got me thinking. Thanks, Mopar K. I feel like that would make a decent drag car. Fiberglass body. It's got a 350 in it. Could put a blower on it. Dude, that's actually a pretty good idea. Maybe that's what that's going to be for. Because, that's the other thing. The interior is really bad in there because it sat for 16 years. So it wouldn't hurt anybody's feelings because I got to take that out anyway. Mopar K don't play. That's the truth. Thanks, Gabe. I do enjoy some of these project cars, cruisers. What's up, Crazy, over on YouTube? I got YouTube over here, or depending on what the vantage point is, and I got TikTok over here. Crazy just chimed in on YouTube. I will throw this out there again because the whole reason that I'm doing this is for promotion. I've been on here tonight for a long time. I never usually come on Wednesdays, but here I am. It is so sporadic because it kind of, things change. But AuxAuto is a 501c3 nonprofit in the state of Tennessee. I provide financial mechanical assistance to people that depend on their transportation for getting through life. I basically cover the shop bills for people that can't afford to make their vehicles safe or operational. for people that need to get to things like going to work, going to school, picking up kids, going to medical appointments. And they depend on their vehicle to do that because everywhere else aside from Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, New York, we depend on our vehicles to take us places. And if we can't afford to fix them, I mean, what are we going to do? Call Uber? So I started this thing out of, I think, a necessity because I've been there before. And here we are, promoting it on YouTube and TikTok and talking about cars and talking about programs and talking about life. Listen to some smooth jazz playing in the background. Yeah, Mopar K, you do. Get on YouTube, even just start a channel. Plus, here's the cool thing, because just based on what you told me, because I don't know you, I just met you. How you doing? Nice to meet you. You're just getting into it. You could encourage a whole lot of other people to do the same thing, because you don't have to know everything. And I think it's going to encourage people, kind of like you're encouraging me to get into drag racing because I don't know anything about it. You're going to show me what I need to know on your YouTube channel. And there's probably a lot of people that are in the same boat, or, you know, don't want to get involved in drag racing because it's just a bunch of sweaty dudes that cuss a lot. And now you're going to prove them wrong, and you're getting into it, and they're like, oh, well, I can do that too. So yeah, you 100% should. And that's good. Yeah. I think it's, I think the authenticity, I think people resonate with authenticity rather than somebody who is trying to sound like they know what everything that they're doing and they don't. Yeah. Where are you from, or at least what state? I think you told me, but I forgot. Got a short attention span. Kind of like Dory or Dora or whatever. See, I forgot. Oh, that's the other crazy foot over on YouTube. That's another thing because, yeah, they still just, sometimes they aren't. I got to tell you this one story real quick. This is for Crazy Foot over on YouTube. The last AuxAuto assist that I did, matter of fact, I forgot this earlier. The last one was a teacher here in Nashville, and her car broke down at the school. And usually that's how these things come about, is a friend of a friend or something, because I can't just openly accept everybody and just send people checks. But it's somebody that is a trusted source. I know where the school is. And I went over there to see if I could help fix her car, but it ended up starting and then broke down again. So she had it towed to a shop. And she's like, actually, her friend is friends with my friend's wife. I don't even know how that works, but anyway, it was over at the shop, and then the friend of mine called me and said, hey, this is what happened. I said, cool. So I called the shop, and he's like, hey, this is what the problem is. On that version of car, the starter is actually inside, I think it was inside the manifold. And it's not necessarily the parts, but it's going to be the labor. So this was like a $1,600 job. And on a teacher's salary, that's a lot of money. That's going to put you back a few weeks. So I was like, hey, we got that. I can cover that. So let's do it. And they're like, cool. And then they called me back, and they're like, actually, that's not what the problem is. We did some more tests, and it turns out that it was actually this. So we don't need that. We don't need to do that. But we're going to replace all these other components. So it's actually just going to be $1,100 instead of whatever it was. I don't know. People don't really do that too often. And I don't have that big of a social media following, but at least that's something that I could put on there and say, hey, this place, 100%, seems like they're doing the right thing. Because all they really had to do, that was their, especially because I wasn't there. I never was at the shop. I didn't see the car. And then I sent them my tax exempt form, and they did everything online. But they could have just charged me the $1,400, but they didn't, and that's good. Had nothing to do with me, but it had to do with a shop being honest about it. I think in other places they would have just fixed what needed to be fixed and still charged the person the $1,400. Uh-oh. Case on YouTube now. Yeah, I was pretty happy about that. That's another, I guess, avenue that because I talk about these cars and projects and the things that I want to do and the AuxAuto assists, but I also want to do interviews with like people that have good experiences at shops, and also people that have interesting stories about cars. One of the ones I actually have in the works right now is a friend of mine. A friend of mine's wife's father has driven in every single county in the country. I believe that's right. And I'm pretty sure he drove his Beetle in every single county in the state of Tennessee. That's cool. That would make for a fun story. But I just told it to you, so now you don't have to subscribe. Hold on, I gotta move so I can see these words. Joey's got a 2000 Ford 500, runs good till it warms up, and then gives a wrench light, and I don't know what the last word is. Oh man, I feel like it's probably like an O2 sensor. It's a, don't quote me on that because I can't diagnose things. I'm not nearly smart enough to be able to do those like the Eurofix guys on the radio channels or click and clack. But I feel like the wrench obviously is just a service soon. But I feel like it's one of those things where like the O2 sensor gets clogged up and it's not sending a signal back to the computer, and then the engine's like, oh, we can't operate under these conditions, so let's go into limp mode. Especially if nothing's blowing out of the engine. I don't know. That's what I would look at first. Also, you could get a code reader. I don't have one handy. I've got a remote starter. Get a code reader. They're like 20 or 30 bucks at an auto parts store. And forgive me if I'm insulting your intelligence because I don't know what your level of auto mechanic is, but if you're looking at your steering wheel and then you go, well, it would be this way. You go down underneath it. There's a little diagnostics port. And you get one of those little code readers and you just plug it in and you go through a couple of options and it'll tell you what that wrench service is needed or what sensor is not reading correctly. I don't have any A bodies in here, but my first introduction to Chrysler products was a 1972 Plymouth Gold Duster that my dad and my mom drove from Michigan to Georgia to California back to Michigan and then down to Tennessee. Yeah, also, Viking brings up a good point. They'll do that for free. But also, sometimes those less expensive ones, they'll tell you what the code is. Where the $1,000 ones, sometimes a bad sensor can trip a different code. That's what I'm running into with my Ram truck. I got the lifter failure on number 5, so I disassembled my whole engine. 2015 Ram 1500 with a 5.7, and replaced the cam. I had to replace all the pistons. I had to, because the connecting rods and the pistons wouldn't. It's like they were not worn out, but the piston wouldn't turn freely from the connecting rod. Anyway, got it all back together, and it wouldn't run right. And I took it back apart to make sure the timing was correct. Put it back together, and it still won't run right. But the problem is I drove it in here. I didn't have any engine codes, but it was ticking. And then when I was trying to figure out what was wrong with it, it finally threw the number 5 cylinder. And then when I got it all done, mechanically it worked, but it was giving me 8 different codes, one of which was like fuel injector number 6 failure. So I took the fuel injector off 4 and put it on 6, and it was still giving me a fuel injector 6 failure, but they were both working. I went through all the grounds. I can't figure out what it is. I think my next step is to change the crank sensor. But anyway, it's showing me all these different codes, but what it's telling me the code isn't what is actually wrong with it. Hey, Kentucky. Hemis always tick, they do. But here's the thing. My truck had 240,000 miles on it, or 245,000 miles on it, and I thought I missed that window because 5.7s also have a combination of a cast iron block, an aluminum head, and a steel manifold. And all of those metals contract and expand at different rates. And what happens is the exhaust bolts pop, and sometimes when they tick, it's actually the exhaust leak from the broken bolts. And that happened once, twice. I think the second time I did it. But the second time it was the tick, it was the tick. And it was that lifter failure that's notorious on the Hemis. Yeah, Kenneth, that's my next objective. And if it's not that, honestly, I don't know. I've just got it sitting out there. That's the thing, though, is I can, the battery's dead now, but I could start it up and it'll run and it'll sit there and idle, and then it'll start choking itself out. And I can drive it around as long as I stay above like 800 RPM. But I think if I replace those, I think that's my next step. I got bit by something. And I'm out of coffee. I mean, the thing, I bought that truck new in 2015. 240,000 miles. I never had any problem with it aside from the exhaust manifold bolt. Matter of fact, that was the only time it was in the shop. And I hauled cars with that thing, 4,200 pound Imperials through the mountains of East Tennessee. Yeah, I got no problems with the Rams. .800 horsepower 03 Chevy Avalanche. You know, my work truck is 2012 Oxy with an A. Is a 2012 with a 6.0 in it, and apparently that's a pretty fantastic GM engine. I'm hoping to get another 100,000 miles out of that. What I want to do is get a Detroit diesel engine and put it in my Imperial. Really, it's kind of hit or miss. I mean, you could buy a truck and it just have a defect, and then you're going to hate those trucks forever. I think that's true with anything. I mean, look at GM right now. I mean, they're having a whole slew of issues. Speaking of, earlier I said something about Ford history. I brought this out a couple of weeks ago when I was on live. A guy named Henry Ford came in here. Obviously, not the real Henry Ford, but my great grandfather worked at Ford from like 1909 to 1950. My great aunt, who's still alive, worked at Ford. She worked at Ford during the Shelby era. She was a secretary for all those bigwigs. My uncle was an engineer at Ford, and I've got a Ford Shop Theory Henry Ford Trade School book, which is pretty cool. I got this from a friend, but it's like the textbook for Ford. Just imagine kids having to learn this stuff. I forgot about that, so I had to throw that in there. Thank you, Jessica Daniels. Yeah, that's funny. All of my, a lot of my knowledge came from magazines. Around here, we used to have Wheels and Deals. Every Thursday it would come out, and you go to the gas station and pick that thing up and see if anybody's selling a General for $2,000. Oh, that's cool. Carol Shelby. That was also like the Iacocca days, and yeah, she was the little firecracker, they called her, for Ford. Oh, sorry, crazy on YouTube. I don't mean to. They're scrolling so fast on TikTok. The first one was 34 and the last one was 42. Oh, sorry. So I got YouTube on one side and TikTok on the other. Crazyfoot 490 over on YouTube wanted to know the copyright for the Henry Ford shop book. So the last one would have been 1942. Yeah, Josh, that's kind of reminiscent of the fuel costs going up recently. That also, so around that era, during that time, I wasn't there, but that was the gas crisis. And then all of the horsepower went away, which is very eerily similar to the whole electric vehicle and the Hemi going away. And then all of the, well, I wouldn't even say loss of horsepower because I don't, I like loud gasoline oil engines, but you can't, if you can't respect the fact of how torquey and quick an electric car is, then I think you need to look into a little bit more science. But it's just not the same. And I guess I'm not really going to get into it, but I just can't justify spending money on something I know won't be around in 15 years. Of course, I say that, and I got a 2015 Ram truck sitting over here that hasn't moved in 2 years. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know about that. An electric Shelby. You can't find the whole transmission? What's that transmission guy on TikTok? I can't think of his name. Yeah, crazy. I got a couple things, a couple of old literature from the guy that I got this from, because his grandfather was also a mechanic. Audell's Automotive Guide and a bunch of old STP cans. Like they don't make it anymore, Jessica? Oh, Viking. Yeah, I don't. Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there a movie with the guy on King of Queens, Kevin James, where, I mean, this was the early 2000s, where their job, they worked for an electric car company that made engine sounds. It's kind of funny though, because it's kind of like the relationship between, like back in the day, the reason turn signals click, because back in the day, there was the piece of metal that when it was supplied power, it would expand and click and connect to turn the light on. And now it's just a sound, because we're accustomed to having a sound with the turn signal. So we're going to make electric engines, and then we're going to have fake sound, like fake turn signals. What year is it, Jessica? An '09, and they don't have a transmission for it? I would have to look into that, but I don't know. I mean, basically all of most vehicle lines all have most of the same components, so they're not having to make so many different things. I can't imagine they just wouldn't have a transmission for it. Yeah, the annoying clicker. I still forget it. My first car was a 1990 Chevy Suburban, and I drove it in. God, it was only 10 years old, but like you could put the ignition in it and then take the key out, and the turn signal, when you pushed it down, it never went back up. So you had to push it down, and then as you come out of the turn, you had to flip it back up. And what's funny is I still do that to this day. In any car that I'm driving, when I turn my blinker on and I know it's going to go back, but I just instinctively, I still flip it back up. I don't know, Jessica, it doesn't seem, I don't know how that's a thing. But I also, I don't know. In '09. dang. I guess I should probably go at 1 a.m. How late does everybody stay on here? Does everybody work like weird hours or something, or is it just a Wednesday? That was another thing I was curious about, getting on here on Wednesday, because I know people work weekends sometimes, and I know people work nights and or different hours than most people that watch things on Sunday night. So I was kind of curious. It's kind of like how on Monday nights all the bartenders go out on Monday nights because there's less people, and that's their Friday night. Moving up, Viking, I hope. That's unfortunate. Getting up at 6. Yeah, you're going to have to get some sleep there, Miss Jessica. Brandon Sloan, that's his name. Jessica, there's a TikTok guy. His name's Brandon Sloan. He literally knows everything about transmissions, especially GM. I mean, he does podcasts on like automotive trends, and he's an actual mechanic, and he actually knows things. Brandon Sloan, if you can remember that, and I'm pretty sure that's his name. But I bet if you inbox him, I think he'd still be able to respond and tell you something that would help. Because he's the type of person that would know. He's the type of person that would know exactly what transmission goes in there. And if they don't make one, he would know why that is, and or they don't make that one and it was replaced with something else. Yeah, look, reach out to him, Sloan. Pretty sure it's his name. Yeah, that doesn't, I don't know if that's your. Yeah, he would know. He probably even knows why that is. I'm telling you, I watched some of his videos, and he breaks things down, and he disassembles these things, and he tells you, like, here's the reason why this happened. He's one of those guys where if, Mike the Mechanic, I think that's his channel, instead of just replacing a transmission, he'll disassemble the whole thing to figure out the one tiny little thing that's wrong with it. Get your shine. I'm not smart enough to know unless that's something new they came out with. Barney style, yeah. Troy, see, if I was doing my whole giveaway thing, Troy would get $100, or not $100, but a $100 gift card. If AutoZone O'Reilly's or something would come through. You must be from Nashville. Appreciate it, Jeff. Got one Charger, one Road Runner, a 300. Over on YouTube, crazy. No, this it is a front seat to a 1969 Chrysler Newport. I got the Newport down in Texas as a parts car because I need some structure pieces for a 69 Imperial project that I got going on. Tony over on TikTok, it's a 1969. Oh, wow. I've been on here so long, my 3-hour jazz background music is over. This is, it's yellow. It's a 1968 Chrysler 300 four-door. There's a chance I might do this tomorrow. I've got some opportunities. I might just end up having my nights do this because I feel like this is pretty productive to promote my automotive nonprofit, AuxAuto, the automotive nonprofit that provides financial mechanical assistance to people that depend on their transportation for getting through life. I basically pay the shop bills for people that can't afford to make their vehicles safe and or operable. And I get on here and I try to promote it and get subscribers, and eventually I hope that the social media can generate income and I can pay for all these things. And so I don't have to ask for money. I just ask for subscriptions. And I showcase some of the things that I got. Maybe I'll build a thing or two. Maybe with Mopar K, I'll start doing a drag project. I don't know. Or maybe a burnout car. But that's why I'm here. That's what I'm doing. This tonight was a whole lot of fun. I keep thinking there's a spider web on me or somewhere. Maybe that's what bit me. Yes, sir, it is. I am going to sign off of here because I've been on for about 4 hours. And I appreciate everybody being here. I appreciate everybody that was here and left. And I appreciate everybody still being here. Hopefully we can ease the burdens of some people struggling one car at a time. Oh, well, before I go, Jessica, before we go, old school 300, the Chrysler. They had the different 300 badges, obviously. And their trunk is probably as big as the hood of the modern one. And since you were curious about this, we'll just go ahead and show you the driver's side view. I don't know if you can see this interior that I was telling you about earlier, or somebody about earlier. When I bought this car, it had the dealer plastic wrap still on the seats. So the seats are in immaculate condition. The doors, they shut so fantastic. So fantastic. It's an AC car too. It just doesn't work. So I took the engine out. I broke one of the AC lines. I think it's backwards. I know there's a way to switch it, and I don't think I have that option selected. Yeah, Tony, it's a 79. I think that's an option before I even log on. Yeah, I was doing it wrong the whole time. Right, so TNN says it's correct now? You know, I forgot all about that because when someone does a live on here, TikTok will save it and then you can get little excerpts of your live. And the last time I started the Roadrunner, it was like that too. It's showing me getting in on the left side. And I was like, this is not England. It is not how that works. But I just had to select that. So now you can read TNN. All right, you all are awesome. I love y'all. I hope to see you again. Maybe tomorrow night. I'll do the same thing. I'll do YouTube over here. Crazy's been hanging out for a long time, which is great. And Thanks for listening to AuxAuto and the smooth jazz sounds of the relaxing night here at Auxland, the home base for AuxAuto, the nonprofit that provides financial mechanical assistance to people that depend on their vehicles for getting through life. I basically cover the shop bills for people that can't afford to make their vehicles safe and operable. So thanks for hanging out. Until next time. Oh, I need a sign-off word, like ox out or something. Where's Viking? I need another thing. Like ox out. Is that kind of dumb? Ox, see you later. Oh yeah, I need help. Auxiliary disconnection. That's pretty good. Or we're gonna aux disconnect. Auxilium. It's auxilium. So auxilium is Latin for to help, aid, or assist. That's where the aux comes from. Even though I think a lot of people think it's like auxiliary. But yeah, auxilium. Ox out. That was perfect with the song.